But let me read you the rules of the Traffic and Parking Commission. If you are not satisfied with the decision made by Traffic and Parking Commission, you may appeal the decision by filing a writ of certiorari with the Davidson County Chancery and Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of date of entry of the Commission's decision. We advise that you seek your own independent legal advice to ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and all procedural requirements have been met. Approval of today's agenda.
I so move.
Second.
So moved and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
The approval of the minutes from the meeting of April the 14th, that is going to be deferred for 1 month due to some errors in it, so we're going to defer that for 1 month. Consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda will be voted on at a single time. No individual public hearing will be held, nor will the Commission debate these items unless a member of the audience or the Commission requests the items to be removed from the consent agenda. Now, on the consent agenda, if anyone wishes to speak, keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Each person presenting will be expected to offer new information that has not been made previously. Once the public hearing has been closed, no additional comments will be held unless the public hearing is officially reopened. We have Councilman Claiborne out here in the Donaldson area. Councilman, would you want to speak first or try it on the consent agenda? All right. On the consent agenda, proposal number 2014-M005AB-001, a request to abandon a portion of McGavock Pike easement and utilities to be retained at a terminus adjacent to the property located at 2830 McGavock Pike, requested by Councilman Member Phil Claiborne, applicant. Resolution, you want to take that separate, or can we do them all at one time?
Completely up to the commission. We can, if you leave it in there, you just do a hand vote along with the rest of them.
Okay. All right. On the last item, all in favor, raise your right hand. All approved. Thank you. Resolution 0514, authorized stop on Kingsview Court and Kingsview Drive. Authorize always stop on Manley Drive and Cochran Drive. Now we have a letter wanting that to be approved. Modify speed limit on Bell Forest Circle from 30 to 25. This has been deferred, I believe, Chip.
Yes, please.
Is it indefinite or for 1 month?
Indefinite deferral, if we could get that.
Which one?
The modified speed limit on Bell Forest Circle from 30 to 25.
So basically, we just need to pull it off consent, and we can talk about it after you go through the consent.
Okay, we'll just pull it off. All right, authorize no parking on the north side of Chester Avenue. Authorize loading and valet zone at McGavock at 11th and 12th Avenue South. We also have a letter from Councilman Claiborne on that also. Authorize shuttle stop on 3rd Avenue North on the east side at James Robertson Parkway. Authorize traffic signal at 1420 Lebanon Pike Metro Water Services. Does anyone have any questions?
I'd like to pull that speed limit change, and I think we do have some members in the audience. Obviously, we might see if they want to request something to be pulled from consent.
Is anyone liking to speak on that? Good. Okay. Okay, you want to just pull that one, Chip?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. All in favor on the consent agenda, raise your right hand.
Hold on, Chairman. I think I may have not put it correctly, but I think they do want to pull something from consent agenda, correct? They always stop, maybe? Yeah.
speed.
No. Any of those items he just read.
Any of those items.
Okay.
All right, we'll go back. Sir, would y'all like to speak on the always stop?
Yes.
Okay, come to the podium over there. Give us your name and address, please, sir.
Question, Mr. Speaker. If we're going to have a discussion of that, should we pull that from the consent agenda and approve the other items?
Yeah. Let's just pull
So
that.
we want to approve the consent agenda absent authorize always stop and the modified speed limit.
Correct.
Right.
I'd so move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Second. Have a first and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand.
Hold on.
We are in favor of the always stop.
We're going to pull that.
We pulled it, and you can speak on that, sir. Okay. You're in opposition of it, is that
Yes,
true?
sir.
Okay.
My name is Jim Davis. I live at 453 Manley Drive. I've lived there almost 28 years. I live 2 doors from where this proposed stop sign is. I think it will cause a tremendous backlog of cars that is unnecessary. There are 4 houses on the left side coming from Marchant down to where this stop sign is proposed, and all of those are opposed to it. There's only 1 house on the right. They're opposed to it. In fact, one of the neighbors started a petition. Probably the big thing is we feel like there wasn't any due process on this. Nobody knew this was happening. And so one of the neighbors found out about it, started a petition. I've got 12 signatures here of people that are opposed to it. We have a very active Creve Hall Neighborhood Association. They were not aware of it in any form or fashion. And so
Can we get a better view? Is this the 4-way stop there?
It's not a 4-way stop. There's
3-way
Cochrane. Cochrane comes down into Manley. Manley runs the section we're talking about from Marchant up at Ellington Agricultural Center down to Rochelle. And there's a stop sign at Marchant. There's a stop sign at Rochelle. And this proposed 3-way stop is for a side street that comes in there that, in my opinion, won't have a lot of effect. But again, nobody knew anything about this. That's probably our big thing, is that there was no due process. There was no talk, no conversation. The Creve Hall Neighborhood Association doesn't know anything about it. And mainly the people who live on Manley are opposed to it. Again, I've got 12 signatures for people on Manley and Cochrane that live near that intersection. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Davis?
Could we get a zoom out so I get a sense of perspective?
Zoom out a little further, Corby. We can see the nearest arterials and that sort of thing.
Marchant comes out of Ellington Agriculture Center and goes down and hits Hogan. And there are some people, to avoid the intersection at Hogan, will turn up Manley. But again, that's it's in the morning and some in the afternoon. The majority of the time, there's not any traffic on that road. It's not a main thoroughfare.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions for Mr. Davis? Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
Is there a stop sign at Manley and Rochelle?
Yes. There's a stop sign at Manley and Rochelle. There's a stop sign at Cochrane and Manley. There's a stop sign at Marchant and Manley.
Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Orba Welch, Allred Welch. I live at 454 Manley. This stop sign being placed will have my driveway blocked constantly. I've never known of a stop sign being placed that would prevent somebody getting out of their driveway. It's right at my driveway, which means every time I pull up, somebody's sitting there. But my main complaint is the same as Mr. Davis's. Nobody knew anything about it. And what really surprises me is that Chris Harmon said he didn't know anything about it. As I contacted him a week ago I called him on Saturday. He called me back on Sunday, which would be a week ago yesterday. He maintained that he didn't know anything about it, but that he would check into it. Well, do you know when I heard from him? This morning, via email. And then he decides that he thinks it's a good idea, so he sends a letter to the commission. I really oppose it. The church, the Methodist Church, it's going to be a problem for the church people. Most all of them are elderly. And this stop sign is going to be a hindrance to them getting into the church parking lot.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. I have two letters here, one from Councilman Harmon. One of them says he's in favor, and the other one says he opposes it.
No, the one in your right hand is an email from a neighbor.
It's from it's addressed to Chris.
Yes.
Okay, from a neighbor. Yes, the letter I have here, folks, is a letter from the councilman who supports a four-way stop.
Right.
Okay.
It's a three-way.
Three-way.
Three-way, yes.
Are there extra copies of this letter? I've yet to see.
There should be one just here.
Just 36. I don't know why. He didn't bother to talk to any of us.
My name is Gary Vineyard, 458 Manley Drive, just 2 doors down from Mrs. Welch. Chris Harmon and I have talked extensively about this issue for well over a year, along with Sergeant Tyler Schmidt, our community service officer. We've been concerned about speeders. We've called on numerous occasions about people speeding, and Mr. Davis is right. They come over from the Ag Center, turn left on Manley to avoid Hogan, and he's right again. It was never intended to be a thoroughfare, Manley Drive. As we were out early in the morning playing with the dog in the front yard, the speeders, everybody speeds, and I'm sure a lot of them don't mean to as they're coming across, but some do. They're in a hurry to cut over, avoid Hogan, avoid the school district. They come down and go as far as over Trousdale and then turn right to get back out on Hogan. So it is a thoroughfare. And we have been trying for 2 years probably, been talking to these fellows about what can we do at the community meetings and so forth. We talk about speed bumps that wouldn't work because of emergency vehicles. Sergeant Schmidt tried to get people out there, but he said that we just don't have the manpower to be able to police that all the time. So our neighbor on Manley Drive, who's in favor of it, he has a 2-year-old, and he's concerned about his wife walking the 2-year-old in the street and that sort of thing. And we were looking at from his yard right there at the corner of Cochran and Manley, and he said, how about a 3-way stop? I immediately called Sergeant Schmidt, who pulled it up on Google Earth as we see here, and he said, that'll work. We need to do that. Call Chris Harmon and see what he can do. Now, this was several months ago, and he said there would have to be a study, and he'd have to go into that. Probably what Orb is alluding to is Chris wasn't aware. About 2 weeks ago, they came out and painted, and I don't know why they painted. This is possibly where the signs are going to be. And we actually think it will slow traffic down to the point, number one, 50% of the people that now use Manley will not use it because it's going to slow them down, and they'll go on over to Hogan and use that main thoroughfare as it was designed. And so there'll be less people coming over the hill. I think it'll be safer for Mrs. Welch because people will be slowing down. They won't be going by her driveway fast, and so they'll have to slow down. So Sergeant Schmidt thought it was a good idea. Chris came out and said, I need to look at this myself. I wasn't there, don't know when he did, but he called me and told me, he said, I'm in agreement. I think for safety and people walking the streets, it's a good idea. And he too thinks it will deter traffic and people will use other means to get to their destinations, be it whatever they're going to the interstate or getting over to Franklin Road. So
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
All right, thank you, sir. Corey, start that one. Start it this time, okay? All right. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, so I'm Carol Starr, 458 Manley, And, with the insurge of population over the last 8 years, the stampede of vehicles coming through the Ag Center.
Excuse me, ma'am, go around there and get in front. There you go.
Is
Thank you.
horrific. And I started probably 5 years ago asking the Ag Center about the speeders, and it's a dead zone because the state owns the road, the county owns the. It's so confusing. They can't do anything about the speeders, so they barrel out of the Ag Center, and then they've figured out to speed down Manley to beat the rush on Hogan, and it's been horrific. And I've been for years asking about speed bumps or speeders. As far as the petition, the family members that live on Manley that I've spoken with in the last 48 hours or a couple of weeks are absolutely in favor of it. And one is a young parent with a child. My neighbors to the right walk their dogs. We all have our hearts jump in our mouths when we see baby carriages from Aberdeen Woods or Rochelle going up the hill toward the Ag Center, which is a popular walking area, because they come over the hill like a speed hump, like a ski jump, and the speed is coming up and they're shooting down, and there's no way for them to really brake in time. But another neighbor that we spoke to on Manley said he signed the petition not knowing really what it was about. He just assumed everyone was against it and, wasn't really cognizant of what was going on because he lives on the stretch of Manley that really isn't affected. They're down after another stopway.
Over Rochelle.
Yeah. So he read your letter, and he assumed that it was our neighborhood, all for one and one for all, against the Department of Transportation. He just signed it to be sociable or agreeable. He didn't have a firm opinion, is what he said to us. So anyway, it's the err on the side of safety. I found out from Ben Floyd, whose idea it was to have the three-way stop, that the neighbors across the street said there was indeed a child hit on a bike there a couple years ago. I've been unable to find that report or who that family is, but our goal is merely to err on the side of safety and prevent one more incident. Or any. Pastor Peter at Crevewood Methodist said he would be fine with the three-way stop. Spoke with him this morning.
Ma'am,
Pastor Peter.
She's speaking to the commission.
I'm sorry. Oh, and when I study the traffic that's Orba's concern, I empathize with anybody. The amount of traffic that's slowing up right at her driveway to take a right-hand turn to go up Rochelle, the same amount of traffic vehicle pausing in front of her driveway would be equivalent. But the rest of us feel that all the speeders that are coming down over the speed jump would just say, continue on and not bother with the three-way stop, and it would be safer for our senior neighbors.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
She cannot speak for
Ma'am.
everybody. That term rest is not right.
Ma'am, give us your name and address,
My name
please.
is Mary Davis. I live at 453 Manley Drive. There is a family across the street from us who would have the stop sign right next to Orba. They have 4 small children, one is handicapped, and they signed the petition. They do not want the sign in their street.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak for or against? All right. Public hearing is now closed. Commissioners?
Chip, is there a stop sign at Landon and Manley?
Yes, there is.
Is there a stop sign at Rochelle Drive in Manley?
That's what the gentleman testified, yes, sir.
And so is there one at Manley and Marcia?
Yes.
So there are 3 already there. Okay. That's all.
I have a question. Ma'am, you had mentioned that your driveway would be in front of this stop sign?
Right.
Okay, you don't have to, you didn't.
Well, I was just going to say, just imagine that.
No, ma'am,
Yeah, the
public
public
hearing
hearing is over.
closed.
I just wanted clarification on that. Hey, Corbin, can you,
Go ahead with your question.
well, I wanted to see it on here.
That's right there.
Which one is your home?
The walkway going up the hill.
Okay, the one with the curved walkway, that's you?
Right, and
Okay.
the driveway, where the the pole is. Where the stop sign will be.
Right there.
Right there.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioners?
Since we've had such discussion about this, I am totally unaware of this section, and I would move that we table this for 1 month so that we have an opportunity to drive over there and see what it's all about, if you wish.
And Chip, perhaps you could let us know kind of how we got to here? What was a little bit of the history of why you're now, why this is in front of us?
It came in as a request for an always stop and/or a school zone, because there's a daycare related to this area at the church, and we shy away from putting in school zones for quote-unquote private operations. So we took a look at the always stop, and I very rarely say we'll use stop signs to slow traffic down, but in this case, the short length does make the speeding go down if you put a stop sign there, because you don't have time to increase your speed back up. One of the negatives of putting in an always stop that's unwarranted is people stop or they roll through it and then they gun it again to make up that lost time. So I see both sides in this case. You're going to have some braking noise and some engine noise at the stop itself, but you're going to get lower speeds if that's what you're wanting to get. The 1 month deferral for the commissioners to go out and look at this, I could see that being a positive in this case. I don't think you need to make a decision without maybe going out there and seeing it yourself. We do have the support of the councilman, and we've got the support of some neighbors. So it's, we know we don't have a safety record that we can lean on. We do have some speeding out there, but it's not like 45 or anything. They're going in the mid-30s. But it started, to answer your question, it started as a request for a school zone. So it's children related, walking to and from this daycare, I guess.
Are you set?
Well, Benny talked to the councilman just before the meeting on the way in, if you want to hear what he had to say.
Yeah, and I just wanted to give his statement of his, I guess, directive on the whole situation was he was in support of our staff recommendation. Not so much that it was his going out and saying that this needed to be done, but he was basically in support of however we wanted, whatever our choice was on how to handle the situation. So I hope that helps him.
Commissioners?
I'll make a motion for a 1 month deferral on this issue.
Well, we already have that.
Okay, well, I'll make a second to the 1 month deferral.
All right, we have a motion for a 1 month deferral and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. It's been deferred 1 month. Thank y'all. Appreciate you coming.
Does that mean would we have a process next time?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, make sure we get your address and all. We should have that, and we'll contact you. We'll send you a letter and call you and email you about coming.
All right, new business. Request for complimentary parking spaces in the public square garage for the 2014 Music City, July 4th.
Okay, according to the contract with the Nashville Downtown Partnership, any request for complimentary parking must be approved by the commission. This is something that the commission has done in years past, so we're requesting approval.
Okay.
Can you let us know, Diane, how many
spaces?
The numbers range anywhere from 50 the first couple of days to 250 on July the 4th. Okay. These are for volunteers, musicians, and things of that nature that will be working the event.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
I move.
Have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Old business.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
On the speed limit, are we deferring that, the reduction?
I'm glad you brought that up. We need to go back to that. Speed limit on Bell Forest, whatever it's called. Bell Forest Circle.
Was that deferred?
We didn't.
Yeah, that was deferred.
Did we make a motion and accept it and all that good stuff? Okay.
Yeah, that was deferred. Yeah.
consent agenda? Or
Yeah, his was just
the consent agenda absent these two items.
Yeah, he's taken off the consent agenda.
Yeah.
All right, then yeah. You
Then he would make a motion to defer.
Okay. So is that what we want to defer?
I remember us pulling it from consent, but never pursuing the rest of it.
Yeah, we pulled it out.
He pulled it.
Okay.
So we need
Yeah,
we need to make a motion and vote one way or the other on the deferral.
I would make a motion that we defer.
Second.
Have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. We're back to new business, what we were talking about. Did we ever vote on that? We did. All right, old business. Diane.
Okay, at last month's meeting, the commission received a request for a valet at 2316 12th Avenue South. The commissioners came back with various questions. And in an attempt to answer those questions, the valet application was submitted to the staff on February 28, 2014. They did have a temporary permit prior to, which was approved by the Department of Public Works and our permit office. Councilmember Moore has also sent a letter to the commissioners requesting approval. Since the last commission meeting, we have reviewed activity out there and received no complaints. Also, you have a map that shows the location where the valet will operate from. Do you have any questions? Now,
Excuse me, go ahead, Diane.
Kyle with Park Nashville is with us today, and also the owner of Josephine's is also here to answer questions if you have any.
Okay. Would any of you folks like to speak?
Kyle?
Okay. Kyle, give us your name and address, please.
My name is Kyle Daniola. My address is 1209 Pond Street in the Gulch. And since our last meeting, we've had 0 complaints from neighbors, tenants. So far, it's been very smooth. We're still parking a lot of volume over at Josephine's. We've been in contact with Diane moving forward, and we've yet to hear anything from the neighborhood association other than keep up the good work. So,
okay. Thank you.
My name's Miranda Whitcomb-Ponce, and I live at 1211 Paris Avenue, and I'm the proprietor of Josephine. And I wanted to mention that our hours have changed, though, and I don't want to be greedy with those parking spaces because, you know, we're right next door to Jenny's. And I would suggest that since we are not open for lunch anymore, that we have the valet reserve spots from 3 p.m. until midnight, Monday through Friday, and then from 9 a.m. to midnight on Saturday and Sunday because our brunch opens at 10 a.m. But I feel like it's, you know, parking is at such a premium in that neighborhood that it would be nice to have those 2 spaces available for retail, other retail in that block during the day.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioners? Do all of you have a letter from Council Lady Moore in support of the valet?
Do we need a motion to modify the?
That's what I was going to ask Metro Legal. Without it being on the agenda, should we consider that this month?
So this is different from what's on the application?
It would be a change in the operating hours of the valet zone.
Sorry.
Troublemaker.
I don't think that we think that's material. If she's actually asking for actually less than she applied for, I think if she was asking for more than she applied for, that might be something where the neighbors would, you know, have some right to be on notice of it. But since it's within what she applied for, I think it's probably okay for them to consider.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
100%. Congratulations, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make maybe one comment concerning valet stands that are popping up all over town. And there's a lot of mixed-use development going on in town. Are these valet stands factored into any of the planning that are done for these buildings?
A lot of A lot of times, before they even get their plans approved, they'll kind of come talk to us about what are the chances of getting a valet or bus parking or passenger parking. And I always say, I'll look at the width of the street and that sort of thing, and I'll say there's a good possibility, but it will come before the commission. So a lot of times there's thought on the front end, but by the time you guys see it, that a ship has already left the dock. You know, they've already got their permits and they're out there building things. But if it's big, like the downtown the mobility study or the ballpark, we're catching that on the front end, and we're getting the approvals or the disapprovals as it comes.
Process so going forward we have a better plan.
I think I'll speak to that. Sir, ma'am. So we are my company, Community Hospitality, that owns Josephine Burger Up, is in the process of receiving.
I believe, turn your speaker on, please.
My company, Community Hospitality, which owns Josephine and Burger Up, also owns a new restaurant in the works called Prima. And it is a big restaurant that's in the Gulch. And we're under construction, but we are going through processes of requests for a curb cut and other things because we see how much impact we're going to have on the, on Davison Division at 12th. And so we're just trying to be very forward thinking in, planning for or asking for curb cuts so we don't hold up traffic. And so hopefully that will be the way of other situations too.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman?
Ma'am.
If I may interrupt, I would like to suggest that a modification of that last motion might be,
or maybe just an additional finding,
appropriate, or an additional finding, because the hours are outside of the 11 to 2, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. as outlined by the Metropolitan Code. A specific finding should be made that the hours that were requested are acceptable to the commission.
They would not be detrimental to the health, safety, and welfare, or the flow of traffic.
Okay, I believe those hours were from 3 p.m. to 12, is that correct? Then on Saturday and Sunday, they were from 9 a.m. to 12 midnight, is that correct? Okay.
So do I need to make a motion to modify?
The ordinance provides that the standard rule hours of operation for valet will be 11 to 2 and then 6 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Okay.
So it really just requires a specific finding by the commission that extending those, you can allow additional hours beyond that, but it requires a specific finding that those additional hours would not be detrimental to the public health, safety, and welfare or the flow of traffic, which I would assume that staff already analyzed since the application did ask for those extended hours already.
Yes, we did analyze that in our review.
So does that need to be put in motion?
You all just need to make a finding.
Is a finding a motion?
Yes, you would have to, anything you do,
Okay.
you would put in the form of a motion.
All right.
But you don't have to alter the motion you already made. You can just make a finding
All
to
right. Well,
accept the recommendation of staff.
All right. I so move to make a recommendation of staff concerning the hours of this valet stand on 12th Avenue South. I think the request has been to modify it to 3 p.m. to 12 midnight, Monday through Friday, and to have it open from 9 a.m. Is it 9 a.m.?
Yeah.
To midnight on Saturday and Sunday. Thank you.
Have a motion first.
Second.
Have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All right.
Motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair, no, wait. We're not through. I'd like to
have a motion.
Ladies and gentlemen of the commission, I'd like to congratulate our chairman for being reappointed to another term by the mayor and confirmed by the council, and also Mr. John Green, who's a commission member. He's been reappointed by the mayor and approved by the council. So I'd like to congratulate them both at this time.
Thank you. Thank
you.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, have a second.
Sounds good.
Thank you.